Hello, greetings, blessed love. Today I want to take a little time out to big up the island of Jamaica. In 1992, the then Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Honorable Michael Manley, was about to step down or demit office as Prime Minister because of illness. And in his demitting speech, I remember with all the thrills and tingling that ran down my spine and the rest of my body when he said, Jamaica is a great nation and he believes in the future of Jamaica. Those words were uttered in 1992. At the time, many of the glories that Jamaica would have experienced from their phenomenal exploits in sports was not yet realized. But a lot had gone on before that could convince Michael Manley that Jamaica was indeed a great nation. But needless to say, if you think about 1992 to where we are now, Usain Bolt was a tiny tot. And many of the others who brought Jamaica Olympic and track and field glory weren't even born, some of them. But of course, we knew of Bob Marley before that. We knew of Marcus Garvey long before that. And so we knew of Donald Quarry, we know George Headley. These are Jamaicans that once you mention their names around the world, gain instant recognition. But when Michael Manley said Jamaica was a great nation and he believed in the future of Jamaica, I was myself not as old as I am now, and the history of Jamaica was not something that I had considered in the considerable detail that I do now. And I can concur with Michael Manley that certainly the little island of Jamaica is truly a great nation. In fact, in this group of islands in the Caribbean called the archipelago, Jamaica is truly an outstanding place. Truly outstanding. In fact, when I deeply consider the Jamaican influence around the world, while this archipelago, known as the Caribbean chain of islands, produced many outstanding sons and daughters, there's something about Jamaica that is worthy of recognition and special mention. To the best of my knowledge, when I consider the historical facts and the historical development of this region, there are two things that came out of the Caribbean region that is truly internationalized. Two things. Anywhere you go on planet Earth, you will find examples and cases of these two influences. One is reggae music, and the other one is Rastafari. The former was bedeviled, and the latter even more so. When I was a little boy, reggae music was regarded as rebel music. And the fact that the society at large was Christian orientated, reggae music was condemned. It was bitterly opposed by most sectors of the society. But today, it's a leading music in the world. And not just today, but from then. Reggae music have a way of speaking to the heart of humanity in a way that other music don't. And I remember with thrills again running through my spine, hearing presidents, prime ministers quoting the words of Bob Marley in the General Assembly of the United Nations. Yes, outstanding. So the influence of reggae music is just phenomenal. Some years ago, a group from Israel visited the Caribbean, and the leader of the group from Israel, though a white Caucasian, was also wearing dreadlocks. Whether he was Rastafari in the same sense as those that originate in Jamaica or not, the symbol was the same. And so Rastafari is the next subculture that develops in Jamaica that became global. Just the same way that reggae music was demonized, Rastafari equally was demonized as well. And as I said, even more so because of its religious component. I get into trouble in some quarters when I say that Rastafari is the radical arm of the Christian faith. But I still believe that that is true because Rastas pretty much quote the Bible. They pretty much engage in worship, what people now refer to in the charismatic arm of the Christian faith as praise and worship, was common among Rastas in their Nyabingi meetings for years. For years. And even to this day, Rastafari is still being viewed with some skepticism in many quarters, but the international recognition that it has gained is also phenomenal. In fact, a few years back in Barbados, the theological college called Codrington College, where many of the Anglican ministers across the Caribbean are trained to become priests and reverends and whatever other titles they may have. There was a priest in training from Trinidad, and as part of his training, he was sent to a church doing like his internship, if you want to call it that. And when I look at the priest, he's wearing dreadlocks. Yes, the priest serving communion with the bishop of the church, St. Luke's Church in St. George, Barbados, was a priest in training from Trinidad wearing dreadlocks. And also in Barbados some years ago, I saw a high court judge from Bermuda. And also she was wearing dreadlocks. Now, when I was a little boy, anyone who wear that hairstyle could never gain employment in the civil service, would never be recognized in the so-called sacred space of the Christian faith. They could not be teachers in the public schools. They could never become doctors. And so, no wonder why most Rastafari, though educated, spend most of their lives doing things like farming in agriculture, because that was one of the only areas they were able to ply their trade or make a living without discrimination. Not to mention the level of abuse that was meted out to them at the hands of police in whatever region they find themselves. It was not uncommon in Jamaica for police to even broke a glass bottle and take it and cut the locks off the head of a Rastafari. All of those things happened. Today, though, it becomes an international trademark that you ask yourself, if the government and people of Jamaica had the foresight at the time to patent that, maybe the nation would have been better off for it. You know? So reggae music and Rastafari originated on the island of Jamaica and has influenced the world tremendously. I can't think of anything else that came out of the Caribbean that is truly internationalized, but I am open to suggestions. You can, in the comment section, send me whatever else you know that have become internationalized out of the Caribbean. And I'm very proud as a son of the Caribbean, of course, even more so a son of Africa, but happen to be born in this region. I am proud of it. Proud of all the nations of the Caribbean. Proud of all the nations where African enslaved people were taken and are now forging a means of identity ahead. Proud of all of you, all of you, all of us. I am even more proud and deeply indebted to our ancestors who did not see themselves as slaves and worthy to be slaves. And so they fought the system that existed then. And today, we who are their descendants, their offspring, can gain better and greater recognition. So whatever island of the Caribbean you're from, whichever island you reside in, we are truly proud of this region, truly proud of the region. We're truly proud of what the descendants of African enslaved people have risen to. And whether you subscribe to the faith, the ideology of Rastas, whether your favorite music is reggae, let us be proud of the cultures of the region. And we certainly have to be supremely proud of the greatness of that little island of Jamaica. I know it is much bigger than many of the other islands in the Caribbean, but it's still a very small island. Respect to Jamaica, we always salute you. Until we link again, thanks for watching.